Hello, I'm Chuck Benoit. Welcome to Restoring Our American Republic. I regularly end our broadcast with the admonition, if you are unwilling to govern yourself, you will be governed by tyrants. And that's not going to change anytime soon. But this morning, we have an opportunity to impact local government to protect we the people from an extremely potential government threat. With that, I would like to welcome Rick Carlins to our live stream. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, Chuck.
Rick is the Lake County CSPOA, Constitutional Police and Sheriff's Association. Was that no?
Peace officer. Yeah.
Sheriff's and Police Officers Association. And also, I'd like to recommend bring in our other two guests. First of all, Mike Levine. Good morning, Mike. How are you doing this morning?
Morning, gentlemen.
And Bill Mitchell. Bill Mitchell is the Florida director of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Police Officers Association. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, how you doing?
Yeah, there you go. I guess I'm doing good. We've had quite a bit to discuss before we got going. People might notice that we were 10 seconds late getting on. So we're busy this morning. What we're here together to discuss is the Lake County's Bill of Rights Sanctuary County Ordinance. And this has been spearheaded primarily by Rick, but with a lot of help with Bill and others. And so, Rick, why don't you just give us a quick overview of what it is you've been doing with Lake County commissioners?
Well, thanks, Chuck. And I've got to give a lot more credit than a little bit of help to Bill Mitchell. So with that being said, I've been working with the commissioners for a little over a year now, and they are fundamentally on board with this principle. I mean, we do not have a Bill of Rights or a Constitution if it's just a document that's not being enforced or upheld. There needs to be accountability for violations. And that's basically, in essence of what this ordinance does, but it brings the jurisdiction within the county. Because there's so many things that are going on in our nation and in the world today. My primary focus is why I've been working on this is to bring to circle the wagons, to gather the wagons together while we're being encircled by the encroachments of federal government and so forth. So, what the ordinance does is it takes a step forward to a couple of resolutions that Lake County has already put in place. One would be the anti-vaccination, the mandate. They have a resolution that they put into place on that. I'm not sure of the year. It may have been 21. And then also there is not an ordinance, but a resolution, a Second Amendment Sanctuary County resolution. Now, this just takes those two statements a step further and brings that jurisdiction within the county, and it gives the sheriff more, not more authority, but a means of helping him achieve that goal. Bill, do you want to add anything to that, or?
I was just going to ask Bill if you'd like to make some original comments here.
Sure. The main primary focus of the ordinance is the concept of interposition. If you have read the book, The Lesser Magistrate, that talks about that we're really trying to create that a constitutional republic was really a bottom-up rather than a top-down government, and which means that the individual's rights that come from God are protected by, first of all, the city, then the county, then the state, and then the federal government. And each of those have sovereignty to be able to hold the other accountable when they overstep their enumerated powers based on the contract or the Constitution that's going on. And so what really this ordinance does is gives policy and procedure and a way to restore that type of jurisdiction at a county level over these types of constitutional issues.
There you go. So here we are all together. Mike, would you like to comment, or?
So again, people who watch government and politics closely realize that enforcing your rights can be um, a nightmare. You get into this bureaucracy, which is government, and the constitutional rights that Rick and Bill are referring to are federal rights. So the thing that I find most compelling about the ordinance that these gentlemen under the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association is recommending to the Lake County Board of County Commissioners revolves around jurisdiction. This gives local citizens the ability to enforce their federal rights in local courts, Chuck. That to me is the meat of what we're dealing with here. And I'll have our guests comment a little bit on that if they choose to.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
Mike,
you.
you're go ahead, Rick.
Okay, I'm more in looking at it more in a way of as the interposition model, as whenever the federal government is trying to force something upon us that is not, that's contradictory to our inalienable rights, then there's the sheriffs and our commissioners and so forth here that stop that encroachment upon our rights. It's just when something happens to that, it's they don't, they're not forcing us to do anything. They're just protecting us, the people that want to live justly from the people that just want to do it the easy way. And the thieves and the liars and the cheats and the murderers. So they're here to protect us from that so that we could enjoy our God-given rights.
Chuck,
So,
I want
Mike,
to talk to
you,
Rick
you
a
you
second.
made a really good point too. One of the things I'd like to kind of point out in this is that the interposition is the real key here, because oftentimes I've been in county commission meetings where the county attorney says, "Well, if you think we're doing something unconstitutional, well, sue us." It's like, well, okay, well, I have to go through lawfare and sue you. That's not the
That's
process
my
that we
point.
should be having to go through. But in this position, when you interpose, the county is basically saying, we as constitutional experts have taken a look at what has happened here, and we are interposing between our citizens and you, the state or federal government, and saying, no, this is not going to happen. And if you think we're acting unconstitutionally, well, then sue us, because we will not allow that to happen in this particular place. And so we're not nullifying anything. We're simply interposing and saying, listen, if this does not appear to be something that is constitutional, and in our never to be humble opinion, and we are in a position of sovereignty to assert that authority, we are asserting that authority and saying this will not happen in this county. And if you want to take us to court over it, great, because we'd love to establish a precedent over it, but we don't need to interpose. That's a real key piece.
Yeah, I think it might be important to at least note to our audience that the most influential, the most powerful law enforcement officer in the nation is the county sheriff. And the reason for that is that he's the only elected officer. And so it is extremely vital to give the county sheriff everything he needs to step in and do what he feels needs to happen without any interference from anywhere else. So that's my piece I'd like to throw in there. In case I forgot to mention this before the broadcast, if you are not on the air, if you're not on the screen that we are streaming and you want to say something, just wave. I can see you, and I'll get you on the air. That includes any of you who may not possibly be on at any given time. So, we're moving along. We still have plenty of time. Is there any particular thing that anyone would like to begin to hone in on or hone down to? Mike?
Yeah, I'd like to respond to the interposition piece because I think that's really key. And what I said earlier kind of moves in that direction, but interposition is a big deal. So, as both of these gentlemen have pointed out, so I would say to you, this is really a litmus test. If your local county or your city, for that matter, isn't willing to protect you against the infringement, and keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking really to really get this squared away and compartmentalized in your mind. Just think of the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution of the United States. And if your local government is not willing to step in and protect you against the infringement of your first 10 amendments, Bill of rights, then they are complicit in infringing on those rights. And I'd like to turn the conversation back over to these experts so they can kind of weigh in on that idea. Bill.
Well, one of the things that you're pointing out, which is really good, the only legitimate purpose of government is to protect our God-given rights. And we agree through contract with our government, which is called the Constitution, as to how that's supposed to look. And when our government officials take a sacred oath to protect those rights and to defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic, they need to take that seriously. So you're absolutely right, Chuck. And when it comes to enforcement, unless you have a sheriff who is willing to enforce the Constitution and a county commission that's willing to legislate and empower the sheriff to do so and to encourage the judiciary to actually find in favor of the types of constitutional protections, then you have actually no ability to enforce the Constitution. That's what the main purpose of this ordinance is to increase the ability of the county, the sheriff, and the judiciary to enforce the Constitution at that local level, because that's what's been missing. That was missing in COVID. That's what was missing with a lot of the Second Amendment type of things that went on. And there's a number of reasons for that. We don't really have time to get into all of that, but this is a step in the right direction to restoring that position of the county sheriff, commission, and judiciary.
Rick, comments?
Well, thank you, Bill, and thanks, Mike. Yes, one of the things to keep in mind is that this really doesn't change anything. This doesn't nullify anything, and that really nothing changes at all unless something happens. So we have this in place for something that may come down the road in the future, exemplative of what happened during COVID, the mandates that the federal government tried to place upon us then. So just because that's done doesn't mean encroachments, of the same degree are not going to happen in the future, even if they're not happening right now. So it's a why not? Why not have this, extra process and step that it is that we could address in the county with this jurisdiction here. I just wanted to bring that up as well.
Sure. Well,
Chuck.
yeah. So, recently we've had several bits of legislation, and again, this legislation isn't necessarily unconstitutional, but what we're seeing is the state constantly infringing on county authority with the 185, SB 185, and the what's the other ones? The name's not coming. Live Local.
Live Local Act.
Local
and all
Live
that
Local
stuff.
Act, and this is the state just simply taking authority away from the cities and counties, and it just. To me, it gives us a very strong overview that government's going to get away with whatever we let them. And this is a way that we, the people, at the local level, can step in and say, not here.
To your point, Chuck, I was actually watching a senatorial debate on Florida, whatever it is, that publishes that, live streams the debate in the Capitol. And one of the senators actually got up, and he was a Democrat, by the way, and he spoke to the rest of the body in the Senate, and he was a prosecutor, federal state prosecutor, and he looked at his colleagues in the Senate. He says, "You guys know that I'm not going to vote in favor of a law that we all know is unconstitutional," and that's what was on the floor in the Senate. So my point to you is this: that the government passes unconstitutional laws intentionally, knowing that the laws that they're passing are unconstitutional. And I have a little meme in my mind right now of the government giving us the middle finger and saying that if you don't like this, you have to sue us. in order to get us to pass laws that are within the guardrails of the state and federal constitution. And then, as I was reading over the material that Rick provided for us prior to coming on, I read that even in the state constitution, there are rights that the cities and counties have that the cities and counties are not demanding are to be enforced. And I'd like for Bill to speak to that.
Yeah, what you're bringing up is something that is oftentimes referred to. A lot of people say, "Well, if you don't do what the federal government tells you, you're violating the supremacy clause. That the federal, laws are all supreme," and they leave out the one really important part, that it has to be pursuant to the Constitution. Because if you pass laws that are not pursuant to the Constitution, they're null and void on their face, because they have not followed the constitutional process. And that's where it becomes really important for cities, counties, and states to interpose and say, "I'm sorry, that's not happening here in our city, our county, our state, because you have just violated the federal constitution yourself," which means that you're in violation of that. And this is where having various types of ordinances in place that allow you to, at a local level, actually apply both criminal and civil penalties, that gives folks pause when they start talking about, okay, well, we're going to come down here and do this, that, or the other thing. And it's like, no, not unless you somehow figure out how to show that this, what you're doing, is constitutional, because on the face of it, we're interposing and saying, not here until you prove it.
There you
There
go.
you go, Chuck.
There you
Take
go.
over.
So, well, let's start narrowing down to Lake County, because we've got some things going on at the commissioner's level that possibly, Rick, you can explain quickly, and then we can maybe get a little bit deeper into, I guess there's a couple of different proposals out there. And
If you don't mind, Chuck, because again, we all have been looking at this for quite a while. And I'm concerned about the audience who has not been looking at this for a long time. So I just really want to reiterate that what we're talking about is the Constitution of this country gave us a constitution. And then the framers came back and said, you know what, we're really concerned about divesting so much power in the federal government. We don't trust the federal government. That's what the framers were saying. So we'll go along with the Constitution as long as the federal government gives the states these 10 amendments, which are now commonly referred to as the Bill of Rights. And that, in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, is what these gentlemen are trying to defend. They're trying to defend your rights under the Constitution of the United States, particularly the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments. That's the purpose of all that these gentlemen have been working so hard for years to provide for you, a local citizen here in Lake County, Florida. And now, for the grace of the commissioners, they've allowed this to be heard in the county commission meetings. So it's time for us as citizens to step up and go tell those commissioners how important it is that they pass this ordinance that actually has teeth and enforceability, so that our constitutional rights that we take for granted are actually enforced locally. And I'll turn this over to Rick to speak to that.
Well, thanks, Mike. And yeah, that's exactly right. Is that to be able to secure these rights for us? I mean, that's the purpose of the Constitution. And the Bill of Rights, nature and nature's God, basically. It's a natural, everybody has these. We're born with these rights. And and man is so complicated that we need to structure society in a way that we have protection for these rights that we have, so just same way that we're protecting our family and so forth. But right now we're blessed to have a sheriff that does want to do this. You have to have good magistrates in order to enforce this, and to protect you, so that you could live security within the walls of the county. And basically that's what we're trying to do with this ordinance, is just to bring our protections closer to home, while we have the magistrates that are willing to do that. and just stop the encroachment, because it has happened in the past and it's going to happen again. We should not fear the government. We should not fear the federal government, and we do, and which is why that there's any question in the commissioners right now that they're getting feedback from the attorney and so forth. Is because of the power of that we let accrue, that they're going to be able to cause us to fear, not to be a threat to them. And being a threat to them is only because we want to live our lives, peaceably, and work and raise our families. And you can't do that unless you're protected from these things, which is what the ordinance does. So I don't know if I
There you
answered.
go. Chuck,
Well, yeah, so in our waning moments, we still have a little time, but I would like to get down to Lake County. I guess my first question is, will we be the first, or are there other counties that have done this, not just in Florida, but elsewhere?
Bill.
So let me speak to that, because I've been working with this in various states for some time, putting towards constitutional county resolutions and ordinances and things like that. Primarily the right after COVID, a number of counties all over the country did a resolution, very much like they did with the Second Amendment. A number of them realized that it was time to step in and say, okay, you know what, we need to do something here, just like we did at the Second Amendment. So let's do the Bill of Rights, and let's claim that we are a constitutional county, and basically tell the state and federal governments to go pound sand. We're not going to go along with these mandates and these unconstitutional things that you're doing. The only county in America that actually gave it teeth was Collier County. They were the ones who said, you know what, we want this to be enforceable. We don't want this to be symbolic. We don't want this to be something that doesn't give our sheriff a clear policy and procedure for how to deal with this, and give our courts a clear idea of how to deal with the penalties, both criminal and civil. So they said, we're going to really create something, and we're going to have a constitutional attorney draw this up so that it doesn't conflict with the state constitution nor the federal constitution, and that it actually is enforceable. That was the thing that Collier County did that no other county has done. And Lake County is on the brink of making history as well, because they will be the second county in the country to have actually passed this at an ordinance level of strength, essentially, saying that we are going to have there be actual criminal and civil penalties for violation of this. So the question is, and we basically at CSPOA are saying this needs to be something that's done all over the country. This isn't just something that needs to be done in Florida. It's not something that just needs to be done in Lake County. It needs to be done in every county of America, because we have no guarantees with what we saw in COVID that that's not going to happen again. And so our whole mission is to try and make sure that every county in America has an ordinance with teeth, and not just a symbolic ordinance either, but something that actually puts a process in place that makes it possible for the county to enforce the Constitution at a local level.
Okay, so we have maybe 5 or so minutes left. Let's get right into Lake County and what we're dealing with. Bill, do you want me to put your chart on, or is there other things?
Why don't you put that chart up, and I'll just really briefly, because we don't have a lot of time, and it's probably the best way for me to cover things in a big hurry. So why don't you put that chart up, and I'll explain the chart. Basically, we've got this chart basically shows the different ordinance that are currently being proposed. There's 4 of them. The first one is the original Lake County that the chairman of the county commission drafted and put forth. The second one is a strengthened version of that, because we felt that that left a number of holes and was more symbolic than actually showing something that could actually be enforced. Then there's the Collier County model that was passed, that Chris Hall passed down in Collier County, which has been the gold model to date, because that's been the model that everybody has put their either ordinance or resolutions. A lot of folks have used that as their template. But then we have what's called the enhanced Lake County version that also integrates the interposition aspects of this as well. And that is the strongest version. And we've basically given the commission all 4 of these various petitions. And if you want to just briefly look down, you can look at what it takes to look at. is if you take a look down the list of things that you can take a look at, what we're looking at here is it talks about the feature of each thing, which talks about the immediate action that's allowed. And then it talks about sheriff authority strengthened. It talks about citizen access, enforcement mechanisms, legal risks, oversight structure, accountability of the system, interposition doctrine, and also looking at long-term sustainability. If you look at the last category in the enhanced Lake County version, you'll see that all of those are checked green, which means that of all of the different pieces that we're looking at, either the Collier County or the enhanced Lake County, which is actually the strongest, is the way that we really want to go in Lake County, because it is the one that is the strongest, most enforceable, and protects our rights the most completely. And so, sort of in a nutshell, I mean, I know that's kind of a microwave version of this whole document. And there's the actual document itself. If people want to get it, I know I've sent it to you. If they email me, I can send it to them. But it actually contains a full analysis of this, as well as the actual the complete versions of each of the 4 different ordinances. And the one that we're going to be recommending to the county at the meeting on the 19th will be the enhanced Lake County version of that.
Yeah, thank you. May I, Chuck?
Please.
One of the things that I don't think that we have mentioned as of yet is the meeting where this is all going to be deliberated is going to be May the 19th at 9 o'clock in Tavares at the regular commissioners meeting. And the more people that we could have in the room in support of this, obviously, is going to be a great thing. And if anybody has any questions who I have been in contact with via email correspondence and so forth with regards to the different versions of the ordinances right now, the one that I sent everybody is the Collier County version, and that would be in just the right under the enhanced version for Lake County. But that's that is, as Bill said, that's a gold standard. But we have in place in the enhanced county the interposition aspect that has been clearly brought into that as well, which is obviously necessary. So, thank you.
Okay, so in our last final few minutes, anyone want to give us an overview? We're talking about May 19th at the Tavares Board of County Commissioners. Is that at 9 o'clock? Is that what you said?
9 o'clock, and I would advise people to go a little earlier to be able to fill out a card to speak. And you could waive if you decide not to. You could always waive your option to speak in support of the ordinance, or I believe that you can also forfeit your minutes and give them to somebody else.
There you go.
You would have the opportunity to do that as well.
The other thing is, if you can't make it to the meeting, you can also attend online, because they will allow you to make comments online as well. And excuse me, and or submit excuse me, some sort of statement. You can also submit something in writing as well ahead of time. So those are also 2 ways to show your support for the ordinance, as well as the strongest version of that.
There we go.
And if you go to their website during the meeting, there's a call-in option as well. And they do take calls, and it would be aired right in the room.
There you go. Well, all these things are very good. Rick or Bill, which one of you would like to just kind of finish up, give us our final comment, and we'll be wrapping this up? Rick,
Call
Bill?
to action, maybe.
Say that again, Mike? A call to
Maybe a
action.
call to action would be appropriate.
Amen. Yes, it
here.
is a call to action, but it's also is just prayerfully keep this in mind that all that we're trying to do is sustain and maintain, the what we have as a nation, that we want to be able to live justly and to worship God and to give thanks for what we have, and give Him all the credit due for this miraculous 200 and almost 50 years that we've had so far to be able to do this. And all we want to do is be vigilant and sustain this right now. So that's all that I have.
Great.
I'd like to sum it up with something that the sheriff of Lake County said in a meeting that we were at that I thought was very telling. we were talking about the ordinance and all that, and he said, you know what? I kind of make things simple. He says, our rights come for God, and I swore an oath that I was going to protect us. And if this ordinance helps me to do that, I'm all for it. And so that's what I want to do is I want to help empower our sheriff to be able to have the strongest possible ordinance that he has to empower him to keep his oath, to protect and defend the country as well as the county from enemies, both foreign and domestic, and support our constitutional rights.
There
Amen.
we go. Well, thank you so much, Rick. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Mike, for all of your comments this morning. And thank you all for tuning into our twice weekly live stream. I will do my best to get a lot of this material into the comments below. Please follow us on Facebook and X at Restore Our Rep 76, or check us out on YouTube at Restoring Our American Republic ROAR. Please like and share the program. And remember, if you're unwilling to govern yourself, you will be governed by tyrants. Until next time, God bless you. God bless President Donald J. Trump. And God bless America.
Amen. Thank you.